Hey guys, I just wanted to share with you how easy it was to change this fuel filter on this 2021 GMC Sierra 3-liter turbo diesel. There's no need to take this thing to the dealership to have the expensive work done on it. You can do this at home yourself with a few simple tools in about 10-15 minutes of your time. Basically, I wanted to show this video as a visual representation of my experiences of how I dealt with this issue and this project. So basically, you'll need a few simple tools. You're going to need a 36 millimeter socket. You're going to need a filter pick, and you are going to need maybe a set of ramps if you need, and a bucket to catch some of the fluid in whenever you take this fuel filter housing apart. First things, back your vehicle up onto ramps or pull it forward, whichever you need, to give you a little bit of clearance to get underneath the truck. Those of you with lifted trucks, you probably won't have this issue. My truck is not lifted, so I backed mine up onto ramps. The location of this filter housing is going to be underneath the driver's side door along the frame rail. It's going to be easy to identify, very distinguishable. Put my 36 millimeter socket on it, and once my bucket was in place, I just started backing it off a little bit until some fluid started flowing. I let it flow into the bucket until I was confident that it was pretty drained, and then I backed the rest of the filter housing cap off of it, and the filter comes out with the cap. And I dumped the rest of the excess fluid that was in that cap into the bucket. And then I took it over to the bench to work on it a little easier, and I snapped off the filter out of the cap. Just a little bit of pressure, you'll feel it and click and snap, and then it comes right out. And at that point, I changed my first O-ring. Now this new filter is going to come with 2 O-rings. I recommend you replace both of them. There's a small one and a large one. The one that we're going to be replacing on the cap is the large O-ring, and it was easy to get off. I just used my filter pick, just slipped it right up underneath it, and it pulled right off. The other one, I just slid it on by hand. Really easy to get on there, and there's a groove that O-ring sits in, and it snapped right into. Once I got that O-ring set on the cap, I just replaced my new filter in there and put a little bit of pressure down. You'll feel it snap into place, and you'll be pretty confident that it's in place. It's easy to identify when it falls into place. Once you're done with that, you're going to need to go back over to your truck, and inside the filter housing body, there is a finger sticking down with a O-ring. This small O-ring will fit on that, and that's what that filter feeds up into to separate it's got to be part of the water separator system on this truck. Super easy to get off of there. Just use your filter pick, it'll pull right off. And the other one, I didn't even need it. I just popped it back into place. No need for the filter pick at that point. Once you're done with that, go ahead and start threading your cap with your filter back up into the housing. And I did it by hand tight at that point, and then I put my filter, the 36 millimeter socket, back up on the filter cap, and then tightened it down, and I felt it click. I was pretty confident that I had it right. If you need to use the torque wrench, and I think it calls for like 35 or 36 Newton meters of torque to tighten that filter cap back down per factory specs. I was pretty confident that I had mine in place, and I wiped down everything to make sure that there was no excess fluid or anything like that leaking, to ensure that I didn't have a leak later on when I did a pressure check. Once I did all that, I pulled all my stuff out from underneath my truck so that I could keep an eye on the filter and to make sure it wasn't leaking, and when I do a pressure check. So the way that we do that is you go inside your truck, and you're going to push the start button, hold it down for about 5 seconds. And take note, do not put your foot on the brake to start the vehicle. You do not want the vehicle to start at this time. You simply want to push all the air and refill that fuel canister with diesel fluid. So this will do it automatically. Once you let off that start button, the vehicle will make a bunch of noises, and you'll hear some swooshing sounds, and that's all that is the truck priming that filter housing back up with diesel fluid and pushing all that air back out into the tank. This process, it probably took it 15, 20, maybe 30 seconds to take care of that. I did that over again just to make sure that there wasn't any excess air in the lines, and I didn't hear any other sounds when I did that procedure twice. So at that point, I started the truck, and this truck started right up, no issues. And I went underneath there to make sure I didn't have any leaks or anything like that, and make sure that my filter housing cap was tight. I was confident with no leaks and that I got this thing right. So I let it run for about a minute just to keep an eye on it, and then I shut the truck off. And at that point, you're done. Project completed, and I hope this video helped, and thanks for watching.